to teach the world that in this age of Kali, he appears within the hearts of those who sincerely chant his holy names. Even from his birth, he was fulfilling the purpose of his mission. Nimai, it was so beautiful. Under that neem tree at the Yoga Pit, Sachi Mata looked at his beautiful face. It was golden. Lotus-like eyes. His little nose put to shame the beauty of a sesame flower. His lips were red like the banduli flower. His face had the countenance of the moon. His neck swirled like a conch shell. And he kicked his little limbs, his little feet. Charmed Sachi's heart. She wept in motherly affection. She called Jagannath Mishra, who came running to the site. She said, look at the beauty and the sweetness of our baby. Jagannath Mishra and all the friends and relatives came running to the site. Instantly, at the first darshan of the little baby, he stole their hearts. They wanted nothing else but to please him. Their life, their soul, their everything was only to please this little child. He stole their hearts. Advaitacharya, his wife Sita Thakurani, came that night to present gifts. And when she saw little baby, she came to the realization, the same realization everyone, that this is the little boy Gopal who has appeared with a golden complexion. That was their feeling. Upon his birth, Nilambar Chakravarti came, because it is the tradition, just after the child is born, to research and explain the horoscope. He was the greatest astrologer of the day. He said, I cannot calculate the glories of this child. What I see in his horoscope is beyond any human. It is said that a great king will be born in Bengal to a Brahmin family. Maybe in time, this boy will be the king. But according to the horoscope, he's greater than any king. He will have more intelligence than Brihaspati, the guru of all the demigods. But his glories will be unparalleled. I cannot say. It's too much. It is supremely auspicious. Just then, a very pure-hearted Brahmin stepped forward and he said, I will explain what I have found in my readings and my realizations about this child. Everyone in rapt attention listened. He said, this child is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has descended into this world to teach the essence of all religions. He will have the power to deliver all living beings. and make the whole world dance in ecstatic love. He told so many beautiful things about the child, but he did not discuss what he knew. That at the age of 24, this child is going to leave his home and take sannyas. Because everyone was so happy, he didn't want to spoil their happiness. He kept that secret. He said such beautiful things about Nimai. Jagannath-Mishra was weeping, he was crying, his hairs were standing on end, he was trembling. He fell at the feet of this Brahmin, and the Brahmin fell at the feet of Jagannath-Mishra. They embraced each other, intoxicated by mutual love for the child. The Brahmin said, because this child will nourish the entire universe with spiritual love, his name should be Vishwambar. At the name-giving ceremony, which happened a little later, Sachimata and the ladies gave him the name Nimai, because he was born under a neem tree, and also because the neem tree is said to ward off ghosts and bad spirits. Because she already had 8 daughters who died, and this was going to be her last child, they named him Nimai to protect him. And some of the other ladies, seeing they had a beautiful golden complexion, just like he had the beauty of Lord Hari, but with a golden complexion, they called him Gaur Hari. And because every one of his limbs was so beautiful with the golden hue, Jagannath-Mishra named him Gauranga. Many names. Little Nimai would cry. Whatever they did for the child, he kept crying. Until in desperation, they cried out the names of Krishna. The child smiled. There was nothing in all the 14 worlds that was more precious to the family and friends of Sachimata than to see Nimai smile. Therefore, 24 hours a day, ladies were waiting for Nimai to cry. And as soon as he did, they would gather around, clap their hands, and chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Nimai would smile. That was the fulfillment of their lives. After 4 months, one time, little Nimai was alone in the room, and he broke everything in the house. 4-month child. Broke all the pots, threw all the ghee and the yogurt on the ceiling, on the walls, everything was scattered, all the spices. And family came in and saw this. How could this happen? They came to the conclusion, some thief must have come. And he wanted to do harm to Nimai, but because we're always chanting mantras for the protection of Nimai, he couldn't harm the child, so he got angry and broke everything in the house. And as they were saying this, the little 4-month Nimai was smiling. the demigods, they were coming for the darshan of the little baby. And sometimes they wanted to cause trouble to the family. So they would make noises, or sometimes appear like a ghostly shadow running by. So the family got Brahmins to come and chant mantras. And the chief Brahmin screamed out, "Oh, you evil spirits, you're lucky you got away today, because I am chanting the mantra to Lord Narasimha-Dev. If you come back, you will be destroyed." And the demigods laughed, and Nimai smiled. At his name-giving ceremony, they put out grains, sweets, money, gold, and Srimad Bhagavatam. And Jagannath Mishra said, "Nimai, choose whatever is most dear to your heart." Nimai crawled right to the Srimad Bhagavatam and embraced it. This was very symbolic. That would be his life. He was the very personification of Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada commenced in his life mission of translating and writing purports for Srimad Bhagavatam, he begins it with an introduction, which is the life summary of Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya's entire life was the personified embodiment of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. But little Nimai was just crawling. One day, a large, poisonous, vicious-looking snake came into his courtyard. And little Nimai crawled over to that snake and grabbed it. Hare Krishna. The family members saw this. They were shrieking with fear. Snake tried to get away. Nimai just held right onto it. Then the snake coiled in circles. And Nimai laid right into his coils like a bed and smiled. Now, mothers, if you came out and saw your child laying on top of the coils of a dangerous snake, would you live? Everybody was crying out in total anguish. Garuda, Garuda! Because Garuda likes to kill snakes. They were crying out to Garuda to save the child from this snake. And meanwhile, Nimai was just looking at them and smiling. And they were afraid to come close, because if they come close, the snake could become angry and bite the child. So they were falling on the ground in utter dismay. And the snake was thinking that he was causing so much trouble, so he unwound his coils and tried to slip away. But as he was crawling away, Nimai grabbed him again. And the relatives, they picked up Nimai and took him away, and he was trying to hold on to the snake, and they pulled him away. They started chanting mantras and thinking it is because of our worship of Lord Narayan that he has saved our child from this dangerous snake. In truth, that snake was Anantashesha, who came personally to participate in the beautiful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And Vrindavan Das Thakur gives a benediction. Anyone who sincerely hears this story will be freed from the snake bite of birth and death. Whenever the ladies would chant the holy names of Lord Hari, Nimai would dance. Now he was just starting to walk. How he learned to walk. He would grab on to Jagannath Mishra's little finger. Desperately hold on to it with his tiny little lotus-like fingers. And he would walk a few steps, and then he would slip down and fall. And then Jagannath Mishra would put down his hand again, and Nimai would grab onto his finger. He'd walk a few steps and fall. After some days, he learned how to walk and dance. The ladies would sing the holy names of Krishna and he would dance. He was so pleased with them. He'd run outside to go to shops that were selling sweets, bananas, coconuts. And he had no money. He was so beautiful, little tiny child, just walking. He would beg them, please give me your coconut, please give me your bananas. And they'd give, and he'd run back in and he would distribute to all the ladies who were doing kirtan for him. One time Jagannath Mishra told Nimai, bring my book. He ran inside. While he was inside, Jagannath Mishra said to Sachi Devi, do you hear those ankle bells? She said, yes. But our child doesn't wear ankle bells. Where's that noise coming from? Such beautiful tinkling ankle bell sounds. Little Nimai came running out again, gave his father the book. They went inside to see, what was that noise? There they saw these beautiful footprints that were marked with all the auspicious signs of Lord Krishna. They were all over the entire house. Where is this coming from? Jagannath Mishra was thinking, because we're taking so nice care of Nimai, Vishnu must be so happy with us that in our Damodar Shalagram Shila, he's performing pastimes in our house. So now let us reciprocate by offering him nice sweet rice and other sweets which they offer to the Lord. Nimai watched it all and smiled. One day, a Brahmin. This Brahmin had a very pure heart. Around his neck was the deity of Bal Gopal and a Shalagram Shiva. He constantly chanted the holy names and meditated on the pastimes of Bal Gopal, and would not eat anything that he did not personally cook for Bal Gopal. But of course, living in the forest most of the time, all he had were just some fruits and roots to offer. When he came to the doorstep of Jagannath Mishra, the whole family was so much honored and blessed by his presence. Jagannath Mishra said, you have come to bless our home. Please tell me, where are you from? The Brahmin said, I am always traveling from place to place. The reason why is because I have such an agitated mind. Radhanath-Swami-Media said, the reason why is because the Lord is blessing the whole world wherever you travel. Please come into our house and let me arrange nice rice and other foods for you to cook. So the Brahmin agreed. Cooked rice and a nice little feast with the ingredients brought for him. He sat down, put the Shalagram Shiva and Bhagavad, closed his eyes, meditated on his beloved Ishtadev, and chanted the names and the mantras for the Lord to accept his bhoga. Just in the midst of the offering, he opened his eyes and saw little Nimai with his lovely golden complexion, lotus-like eyes gazing right at him with a handful of his rice. He put it in his mouth and chewed upon it. The Brahmin was shocked. Nothing like this ever happened. He cried out, "Hi, hi! Alas, alas!
Alas, alas!
This child has spoiled my offering." Radhanath-Mishra was so much disturbed, picked up a stick and chased after little Nimai. Nimai ran away. Radhanath-Mishra was crying out, "Do you think I'm such a fool, Nimai, that I'm going to let you get away with this? You're just a thief. You must be punished. You must learn your lesson." And the Brahmin caught Radhanath-Mishra's hand and said, "No, no, you cannot punish him. He's just a tiny little boy. He doesn't know better. You cannot punish such a child." Radhanath-Mishra said, "If I don't punish him, how will he ever learn?" "No, no, you cannot punish him. Please, please, just give me some fruits and roots. I'll be happy." Radhanath-Mishra pleaded with the Brahmin, "Please, cook again. I'll clean the kitchen and bring all fresh ingredients." The Brahmin said, "All right." He started cooking. Radhanath-Mishra, very careful. He said, "Take Nimai somewhere else and guard him diligently, vigilantly." So Sachimata brought Nimai to a neighbor's house, and young girls were given the responsibility to guard him. They were playing with him so nicely. They were picking him up and tossing him to one another, and then he would jump out of their arms and he would run around, and they were laughing and he was laughing. They were joking with him. "Nimai, why did you steal the rice from that Brahmin?" He said, "Why do you say I steal? He called my name. He asked me to eat it, so I ate it. Why do you say I steal?" "Huh? But you're a Brahmin, and you don't know where he comes from. You don't know what his caste is, really. You don't know where he's been, what he does, and you're eating food. You could lose your caste by eating food from an unknown stranger." He said, "Why do you say lose my caste? I'm a Gopa. I'm a little cowherd boy. And all little cowherd boys like to take foods from Brahmins. What is the harm?" He was revealing his true identity. They laughed, but they could not understand. The Brahmin finished his offering and chanted the holy names of Bal Gopal. "Please, Bal Gopal, come and accept my offering." How could Nimai resist? He was so charming. He utterly enchanted those ladies so much that he slipped away from them and they didn't even know. As the Brahmin was performing his puja, he looked up, and there was little Nimai eating his rice, the pieces falling out of his mouth. Yes, he was laughing. And the Brahmin, shocked, cried out, "Hi, hi!" Hi, hi! Jagannath-Misha picked up his stick, charged toward the little boy, and Nimai ran into another room, closed the door, and hid. The whole family grabbed Jagannath-Misha and said, "No, don't punish this child." He says, I must. How will he ever learn?" And the Brahmin pleaded with Jagannath-Misha. Jagannath-Misha said, "I'll clean the kitchen, bring the ingredients, and you cook again." "Please," he said, "just bring me some fruits and roots." Can't you see? It's not my destiny to eat nice rice and prasad today. No matter what arrangements you make, if it's not the will of Krishna, you cannot eat. It's my karma. I'm supposed to eat fruits and roots today. Just bring me fruits and roots. I'm not going to cook again. Jagannath-Misha put his head in his hand and couldn't speak another word. At that moment, Vishwarup entered. When the Brahmin saw Vishwarup, his physical beauty, his glorious good qualities, his mouth opened in awe. He asked, "Whose son is this?" They said, "This is the son of Sachimata and Jagannath-Misha." Vishwarup fell at the feet of the Brahmin with such humility. And with folded palms, he said, "We are so fortunate today that you have come to our home to bless us. But we are so unfortunate that you haven't eaten properly. Please, cook again." The Brahmin said, "I've already cooked twice. And it's 2:30 in the morning. It's too late to cook again." Vishwarup said, "It's not too late. It's actually a very good time to cook again. And besides that, great souls, they live for the welfare of others. Paraduka duki, their distress is to see other people in distress. They're willing to make sacrifices to show compassion to others. Look at my whole family, and even me. We're suffering terribly because you haven't eaten. So please cook again and make us happy." And then he fell at the Brahmin's feet saying, "Please, please." And then everyone in the family went to the Brahmin, "Please, please, cook again." The Brahmin said, "Bring the boga." They cleaned the kitchen and brought fresh boga. Jagannath-Misha said, "Put the child in the room, lock the door, and guard him. In fact, I will stand outside the door with the stick to guard." One of the ladies came out and said, "He's already sleeping. There is no longer any problem." The Brahmin cooked. Just when he was chanting his mantra, little Nimai sent one of his Shaktis named Nidra Devi. Everyone in the house fell fast asleep. as he was chanting the mantra, calling his deity to accept his offering, he heard something and opened his eyes, and there was Nimai, looking right into his eyes with a beautiful smile, chewing on his rice. Hi, hi! Hi, hi! Again the child has spoiled my offering. But everyone was sleeping. Nobody heard. Nimai looked at him and said, "Dear Brahman, what is my fault? You called for me to eat the food and I've come to eat the food." I am the Lord that you have been meditating on all your life. I am the Lord who you call upon with your mantras. Just see. The Brahmin looked and saw Nimai transform into a magnificent 8-armed form. 4 of his arms held the conch shell, the lotus flower, the club, and the disc. 1 hand held a pot of butter. The other hand was eating the butter. And with 2 other hands he was playing the flute. He had a lovely peacock feather in his curling black hair that was shining and circling his face like the feathers of a crow. And there were fragrant malati flowers circling the peacock feather. The Kaustubha jewel was on his chest, and the Brahmin saw Lakshmi Devi herself decorating his heart. He had shining golden garments, a wonderful garland of wild forest flowers that extended down below his knees. Behind him and all around was manifested the abode of Vrindavan. There were kadamba trees, tamal trees, with singing birds of all descriptions. And there he saw, just like in his meditation, there were unlimited cowherd boys and cowherd girls and cows, all singing the glories of the Lord. The Brahman's hair stood on end. Tears gushed from his eyes. His limbs trembled, and he fell unconscious. And little Nimai, with his fingers, touched him. And the energy of his touch thrilled the Brahmin and brought him back to consciousness. The Lord told him, "You are my servant birth after birth after birth. You do not remember, but I do. In your last birth, you were also a pilgrim Brahmin, and you came to Gokul, Mahavan, to the house of Nanda Maharaj. And there you made offerings, and I stole your offerings there too. And I manifested the same form to you then. Do you not remember? Because you are my devotee, my eternal servant, I always reciprocate with your love. But now I'm going to tell you a confidential secret. You cannot ever tell anyone as long as I am manifesting on this earth. I am the Supreme Lord Krishna, and I have descended. I have descended to establish the Harinam Sankirtan movement. I have come to give the gift of love of God and make it available to all the towns and villages throughout the world. You may come here every day to see my pastimes, but do not disclose to anyone what you know. Then little Nimai ran back into the bedroom and went to sleep. The Brahmin, so much in ecstasy, what he had just seen, what he had just heard. He was screaming out, Jai Bal Gopal, Jai Bal Gopal, Jai Bal Gopal. And he was picking up that rice that he saw fall from our Lord's mouth. He was intoxicated. He was rubbing it on his face. He was rubbing it on all his limbs, all the while screaming out, Jai Bal Gopal! Jai Bal Gopal! This woke up all the people of the house. Soon Sachimata, Jagannath Mishra, Vishwarup, and all the other family members come running. When he saw them, he somehow or other wiped all the rice off his body and sat very patiently and began to eat. He looked sober. The offering was successful. In his heart of hearts, he was longing to tell them that you people, he was thinking, you people, the Supreme Lord Krishna is living in your house and you do not even know it. You'll be liberated. You'll attain the ultimate perfection if you just know the truth of who your son is. But I can't tell. I can't tell. Otherwise I'll die. For the rest of his life, that Brahmin never left Navadvip. And he never told anyone. He would wander, and every day he would go to Jagannath Mishra's house. And in his heart of hearts, he would worship the Lord of his life and watch his beautiful pastimes. And Vrindavan Das Thakur gives a benediction that anyone who hears this story sincerely will meet Krishna. When it came the time for Nimai to begin his studies, this is a big event. You see, in the Vedic Indian Vaishnav culture, any excuse for a festival. They have festivals for every stage of a child's life, and they really celebrate really nicely. When the child first starts leaning, there's a festival. When the child first begins his studies, there's a festival. Jagannath Mishra gave him a piece of chalk and taught him the alphabet, Sanskrit, Bengali. The little child, immediately, within a matter of days, the child was writing the whole alphabet, but was writing nothing but the names of Krishna. It astonished everyone. Sometimes he would yearn for things that were unattainable. He would be in Sachimata's lap, and he would see a bird high in the sky. And he'd say, Mata, give me that bird. She said, Nimai, I can't give you the bird. So he would cry, give me the bird, give me the bird. So everyone came running and chanted the holy names. Another day, Sachi Mata said to him, "What would you like, Nimai? Anything." He said, "Give me the moon." She said, "I can't give you the moon." "But I want the moon. You promised me anything. I want that moon." So he cried and cried and cried until everyone came and chanted the holy names. Another day, he said, "Mother, I want all those stars." And he was serious about it.